I know you heard the Kendrick verse, and I know
Man,
you've been kind of keeping up with what J. Cole been cooking up, of course, behind the mic.
yeah,
What do you think about this? Do you
man,
think this is what hip hop been needing for a while?
this
Because
is
boy, it
exactly
been
what we
like on
needed.
life support.
This is exactly what the game needed. This is because things. I feel like rap had been falling off lately. It ain't like how it was. I mean, even a decade ago. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So this is desperately what we needed. Um, and Cole's been doing his thing with his verses, with his rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And Kendrick, his last album was more, it's like a therapy session.
Right.
I think he tired of people forgetting who he really is. Like he really him behind
Yep.
the mic when it comes to rapping.
He is him.
He is him. He's really one of them ones.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad he did what he did. He barred up. The verse was nice, and he's coming for Drake. I think J. Cole got caught up in the crossfire a little bit, but he definitely let it be known though that we know Cole's gonna probably end up responding some soon, but Drake need to be in the booth right now as we are recording. So should Drake. He should be recording too.
Oh yeah. He should like keep. And he should literally have his guard up. Literally, as we speak right now.
We should be seeing some kind of song, some kind of diss track surface on the internet. Something should be getting. Drake should be tweeting out a song any moment now.
He should have his thumb on sin.
Something should be getting posted and uploaded to Apple Music and Spotify as we speak.
Just in case.
It's been what 48 hours and counting, essentially.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hey man, look, he needed to release some. You can't just sit back and just let this continue to go with no response. We need a response by the end of the week.
Right.
So
yeah,
we're gonna see, man. This, like you said, but this is what the game needed. This is raw rap back to life, because this is what rap is all about. It's always been about this, the rapping.
Yeah. It's just like it's like watching wrestling, of course, Chris. I mean, you wrestling fans just like I am. So it's who's at the top of the game. Who can hoist that world heavyweight championship. At the end of it all, and say like I'm the best to ever do it. So
exactly.
Comes with the territory.
And Cole ain't been in no battle for real. Well, his what's his resume look like? He was beefing with Dickie Simmons. Like, I mean, Cole ain't never been caught up in nothing. So
right.
We need him to get his fisticuffs a little dirty, see what he can do against Kendrick.
Yeah. Just have a little fun. Little competition ain't never hurt anyone. So that's what it is. That's what it's about.
Definitely. So yeah, just like you, man. I was happy when I heard Kendrick. Wasn't expecting it. It didn't say who all was featured on the track. He just started rapping out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. That was the beauty of it. Oh man, but yeah, no, you're right. It's only time will tell to see what Drake does and everything. But yeah, in terms of Kendrick's response to all of this, yeah, it's definitely kicked it up a notch.
Yeah. He, like I said, he had to let everybody know, man. Look, I ain't just out here doing therapy rap.
Exactly.
I don't forgot who I am.
Exactly. Yep. So it's fun. It gets me excited about the genre again because man, I've been conflicted.
Definitely.
I think we can both say that for the most part. It's not that it hasn't been some bright spots with hip hop in the last couple of years, but man, it definitely needed that shot in the arm.
It did for sure. I feel like the quantity has continued to increase. We get more and more songs from more and more artists, but the quality is lessened. But this is why Kendrick chooses to rap for real every few years.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't always got to be constantly pushing out music, but when Kendrick hop on a track, he ain't gonna let you down.
Nah. That's one thing. That's one thing he's not gonna do. I mean, you can say the same thing about J. Cole as well. He's not
yeah.
So
for sure,
that's what we like about both of those brothers. I think they bring the best out of each other. And I've heard people say that. So it's the important thing. Yeah.
So come on, Cole. Come on, Drake. We waiting.
We're all waiting. Oh man, but yeah, man, you ready to go ahead and kick the show off? Ready to do this?
Let's do it. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and cue up, and we can start. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I am your host, Kory Willis. I hope you all are doing well on a Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Just watching March Madness. We had a lot of great basketball games, of course, over the weekend. So yeah, man, I hope you had a great time, hanging out with your friends and family, watching some of the big games going on in the tournament. As always, of course, we appreciate you guys listening in on the show. Of course, we're on many different streaming platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So yeah, we appreciate you guys listening in on the show. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It definitely helps the show out. It helps us to see where we're at and how we can improve the show for you guys in the future. So yeah. As always, I am here with my good friend and co-host. You know who he is, ladies and gentlemen. He is Chris Bolton. What's going on, Chris?
My man, what's up? What's going on with you, Kory?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. It just been enjoying, March Madness, of course. And, we've had a lot of great games.
Word to Future.
Yeah.
March.
Exactly, man. Yeah,
it's been some great games. We've had another early exit by Kentucky.
Yeah.
let a 26-year-old man with a family at home get them out of there. My boy hit 10 threes against them, 10 for 20 from three.
Oh my gosh.
That's tough, boy. That's stuff you see happen in high school when you let one player just whoop you like that.
Beat you like you stole something.
Man, they should be ashamed. I don't know. Have you seen that video circulating around about how bad Kentucky's defense was that game?
No, I haven't.
There was a breakdown about 8 minutes. The guy's voice is annoying, but it's a thing he does. He does it on purpose, but the breakdown is flawless and spot on. Mm-hmm. And I'll send it to you. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely catch that and check it out.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good for the Cats, but it's definitely been a great tournament though. We've had some fun finishes to some games.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we've definitely had some fun games, of course, for sure. I'm interested to see how this Sweet 16 takes shape. Of course, we got some pretty good teams still left in. So it's time will tell. We'll see how everything kind of fares for each team. Of course, we got Tennessee's been playing really good basketball. Alabama they beat Grand Canyon in pretty much a close game. They were fighting. They were fighting with Alabama for a little while, but Tide won.
Yeah. The Tide won. The Tide roll. So that's a good win for them. They got a good squad. We'll see what noise they can make.
Yeah.
And soon, who else is playing well? I think this would be a good segue. But another school that's playing well is Clemson. Clemson has been playing well.
Yes, they have.
And we'll see. Will they continue to be representing the ACC as time continues, or will Clemson be a representative for another conference in a couple years?
Hey,
what you think?
You know what? This was definitely a topic, of course, that I wanted to talk about, a little bit later in the show. But you really put me on the spot now, Chris. I think we should. I think we should really, kind of discuss this because, I mean, we already knew about Florida State, of course, being very upset with the ACC and putting that lawsuit out on them and in order to state their case and their, I guess you can say, their displeasure with being a part of the conference and wanting to bow out. And now Clemson is doing that now, folks. So yeah, if you heard,
I second that motion.
Yeah, exactly. They raised their hands too. They're like, you know what? FSU is right. I want to get in on this too.
Right.
So yeah. Clemson also suing the ACC. Of course, they're not happy with being a part of the conference, and it's just another. I guess it's another tale, Chris, of teams really just leaving, their conferences that they've always historically been a part of, and I don't know, creating or formating this super leagues, these super leagues that we're seeing now. What do you think about this?
It makes sense when you look at the direction college football has taken. We've always talked about it since the beginning of this show that we've been doing together, that college football is on a path that pulls more and more away from its essence and its core, and becoming more about maximizing the money, the dollar. And with decisions that are centered around the dollar, it ain't always going to be in the best interest for the essence of how things have always been, So this is just a byproduct of that. And I think schools like a Florida State and Clemson, they see what's going down. There is a clause for the ESPN where they don't necessarily have to continue the coverage that they've provided the ACC and the ACC network, that they'll have to decide upon, I believe, in the next year. They have some time to do so, into 2025. And with that looming, and you see how the SEC continues to grow, the growth the Big Ten has had, you see Florida State getting denied access to the big dance, the college football big dance in the playoff. There's a lot of things, I think, maneuvering and at play in the background, and I think we're going to see a world where we very well might have Florida State and Clemson in the SEC, and just the ramifications that can have in college football would be just so wild. This is so interesting to sit back and see how it plays out. I don't necessarily. I'm not rooting for it to happen, but I will be lying if I told you that I would be surprised if it did play out that way, Kory.
No, you're absolutely right, Chris. I mean, this stuff has been brewing, slowly for the last couple of years. But I think it really kicked into gear when Florida State lost that bid for the college football playoffs. I mean, that was the straw that broke the camel's back at that point, is what people always say. Where the displeasure definitely came in, where like, hey, we're not being treated as fairly as the other guys here in the South, and
it's so crazy because Florida State is synonymous with college football, man. Like that's a top 10 brand in college football. I would think of
historic program. Very historic program in their own right, and them being left out of the college football playoffs, and then have to deal with the ACC and the rights fees and all of that stuff. As the school overall, they definitely want to get a piece of that pie. They're looking at Oklahoma, they're looking at Texas, they're looking at what the SEC can provide them on top of what they already have as programs and that name recognition, and they want a little bit of that. So is Clemson.
Yep.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
You knew Florida State wasn't going to do this alone.
Oh no! I knew we weren't gonna have him, Chris. Like as soon as they got into the fray, they're like, all right, I'm gonna challenge the ACC on this. Clemson was like over on the corner, like,
right.
I might want to get in on this,
And they ain't going to do. Those two schools, I guarantee you, they aren't alone either. There's a lot playing out that we don't know about at this moment. But I would be remiss if I said I think it's just those two schools that are looking at getting out of the ACC and joining another conference.
Yeah, there's already rumors about North Carolina, I think.
And I would think Miami would be involved as well.
Yeah, Miami as well. So this ain't good. This ain't good for the ACC. This is not good.
ACC looking like the Pac-12 East.
I know. Exactly. Looking dry.
This might be it. This might be the last. Well, if the ACC goes out like the Pac-12, that means Clemson and Florida State and Miami probably all made the playoffs this year because the Pac-12 was crazy.
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine? Oh man, there'll be a lot of upset people.
we're joking and laughing, but we laughing through the pain because this could be the last year of the ACC. Ain't no telling how this could be.
Hey, look, that wasn't on our bingo cards about the Pac-12 just ending abruptly like that. We didn't have that on our bingo cards at the beginning of last year.
Man, nope. And now we're going to possibly have to see about the ACC. It might be over with. We'll see. But
yeah,
it's an interesting conversation, and I think it's a much bigger topic at hand than people aren't in college football mode right now. You know what I'm saying, Kory? Like right. Me and you doing this podcast and talking about this and the other entities that cover college football, we're some sick people. There ain't nobody studying college football at this hour, at this time. March Madness is on. The NBA playoffs is approaching. We're wrapping up the regular season, and the NFL draft is around the corner.
Right.
The furthest thing on people's minds is college football.
Exactly.
But this is a huge conversation and discussion because if
if this plays out like the way it potentially could, I think we're looking at the collapse of the NCAA as we see it.
Oh yeah,
I think this would be the dagger to the NCAA really being in control of these leagues, of these conferences. Because who's to say the SEC and the Big Ten can't create their own their own, playoff or whatever they want to come up with if they end up beefing and falling out with the NCAA, because they don't need the NCAA at that point. We got all these big schools. We don't need you. It's the possibilities are endless. It's oh boy, yeah.
It's definitely a different game now. It's definitely a different game now, and what once was the NCAA that was like the bane and still the bane of everyone's existence, Chris, has now just crumbled into this like weird but funny as hell obscurity.
Exactly. They and
there's no reason for them now.
And it's the NCAA's fault.
Yeah.
Part of it, they weren't ready for how NIL has impacted athletics, and they could have been paying these players.
Right.
And they should have been on top of NIL and how to regulate it, but they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're suffering.
Yeah.
These are the consequences of working to make the lives of certain working to. I feel like they've never been a friend to these schools. It's not been like a we're working with you relationship. It always feels like they're coming down on schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the byproduct of that dynamic that has been set between the NCAA and the universities. So,
right.
Here we are.
Yeah, this is they have created this monster, and it's definitely nothing I can say the NCAA can do about this now. Like you said, the SEC, Big Ten, having that partnership with each other, the issues that Clemson and FSU are having, and other schools potentially in the ACC are having. It's unprecedented, but
yeah,
it's not surprising at all. So we'll just have to see.
No, this is just a byproduct of the culture, man. We prioritize money and playoff expansion and this, that, and the third. This is what happens. And I don't think college football. I can't even say I don't think. We know college football was never intended to be maximized for profit. It was always about the rivalries and waking up on Saturday mornings and tailgating and the talking with your people leading up to the game. How can we pull off the upset and this, that, and the third, or just all of that stuff. But when it becomes all about the money, that allure and some of the rivalries you grew up watching, some of that stuff is going to be put on the back end, and it's going to be all about the big schools trying to remain big and find and establish their dominance where all the cool kids are at. And right now, the cool kids are at the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yep. Yep. That's what it is, man. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future with all of this. But, it's definitely college college athletics in general is taking a like literal 360.
Yeah.
So only time will tell to see where this goes and what everything looks like, of course, especially in terms of college football, what we cover. So
yeah, that which kind of goes into the next topic related, which is the big deal that ESPN has. You got the details on that, Kory?
Yeah, absolutely. So the last time it was like several weeks ago, we had got word that ESPN and the college football playoff people had secured a 6-year deal for about like $1.3 billion annually. That's a lot of money in its own right, but they've I think you pretty much say they've altered this deal. Like it's still the deal, but they've extended it through the 2031 to 2032 season now. And that's for $7.8 billion. So pretty much more money is being infused into this whole project with the CFP and the ESPN. So it's crazy. I'm not too surprised about this. Seems that the college football playoff committee likes working with ESPN to do these games, and now you have the 12-team playoff now. What do you think about this, Chris?
Yeah, it's the CFP. We know how we've been saying that you throw some football on, we gonna watch.
Exactly.
So, by any means, and just like we know that, so do the people who made this deal.
Exactly.
So it's a crazy amount of money. It's a lot of money tied into it, but it makes sense when you look at how we view football, and this is the moneymaker for ESPN too. I feel like they are going to make sure they put the CFP on, and they got into the business with the SEC, locking in, the SEC football games. Ain't no more SEC on CBS,
which is weird.
It's all. It's gonna be so weird. So weird not putting on that 2:30 game on CBS.
You just turn to CBS like, yeah, I'm ready to see an Alabama game. It's like, oh wow, Ohio State playing Penn State right now.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be
like
weird.
Now. I don't. What you mean? I don't have to change the channel. I just keep it on ESPN, and see the SEC game is coming on. Okay. But when you look at the deal that ESPN has with the SEC and stuff, and just how the SEC potentially, already with the schools that they just added with Oklahoma and Texas, what they bring to the table with their potential to make the playoff, and some other universities looming around the corner. I mean, yeah, the CFP will be loaded with those kind of teams, and those teams will bring viewership. There's already going to be viewership, but if you got the big boys in there, we're going to continue to watch. Continue to make money. So it all makes sense. It all makes sense. It makes money sense. I know that much.
Oh yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah, they it's definitely gonna bring in a lot of revenue for ESPN and the college football playoffs as well. I mean, this is just one of the biggest examples of the NCAA not having as much control as they used to. So you know, it's definitely a turning of events. I'd say.
Oh yeah, it's a changing of the
College,
guard because
yeah,
we you can look at the video game now that's coming back this year.
absolutely. That's a
It
prime
ain't the new
example.
NCAA. It's the new college football. we, you back in the day we said you copping the new NCAA, you gonna get you got the NCAA 06. Hey, we ain't saying you got the NCAA. Ain't no NCAA 24 or 25. This college football 25.
They flick that NCAA like a fly on the wall. It's like bye bye.
They
Just
ain't even got
stamp the
rights to the video
CFP in front
game
of
no
it.
more, man. Hey, it's not looking good for the NCAA in these streets.
Exactly. They might as well shut down those headquarter doors now, Chris, because ain't no turning back from any of this. You know.
No, when they putting the guys in the game, they say, all right. They've been talking to the universities to get everything down packed to be authentic on the game. Then they put out the package for the players to sign up. It ain't got nothing to do with the NCAA. It's all about the players in NIL and the universities to get the video game right. They don't need the NCAA.
Not at all.
They just been working with schools and the players, and that's just a video game. So if the NCAA can't even have their hands around the video game, that ain't a good omen for the real game.
I know. Absolutely. I mean, you are losing value as we speak. You know, you have the CFP now. You have, you know, their partnership with ESPN and ESPN's partnership with all of these conferences, like the SEC, like the Big Ten, like the ACC. I mean, we'll see what happens with that now.
Let's say
of
right,
course.
but they still have the rights to ACC games.
Yeah.
As we speak. Yeah.
So it there's a lot of money being, you know, infused into these programs, into these schools, and with that comes the NCAA losing grasp on all of this, losing grasp on, you know, how to control NIL, because they don't know how to control NIL. So the schools decided on how they could control NIL. So, you know, it's definitely a change of the guard, of course. So, you know, we'll see how these deals and everything fare for the future. But yeah, it's big for the CFP.
Oh yeah. The CFP is in good shape. They gonna be all right.
Oh yeah.
You know, another Kendrick reference. You know what I'm saying? We gonna be all right. Like they gonna be fine.
Exactly.
CFP gonna be just fine.
You're right.
The NCAA, I don't know, but everybody
Last
else gonna be good.
they trying to limp to that little ribbon, trying to cross that line, and I don't think they gonna make it.
Oh man,
they gonna get shut down before they even cross through.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's interesting. Man.
Definitely, it's these are the conversations I feel like that should be highlighted more, but people, the masses won't be concerned until it's too late, until some action, some moves, some serious shaking, some ground-breaking revelations and precedents are made. When moves like that happen, then everybody's going to want to talk about it.
Yep.
But it's playing out before our eyes. But, you know, the people who really love this sport and love this game, they're paying attention. They see it all. We're seeing what's happening.
Right.
So some things. Exactly. So whatever happens. But there are some serious moves in the making. In the next, college football will look completely different in 5 years than what it even looks like today, and that's before we unveil a 12-team playoff.
Yeah,
but this game will look completely different in 5 years, Kory. Like I don't know how things will be looking in 5 years.
I don't know either, and everything's changing so fast. I mean, like
it's moving like technology. You know, technology always moves faster than us.
I know.
The phone was good you had 10 years ago, and you'll pull it out your pocket now. People will laugh at you. Like that's how college football is looking. Like it's moving like technology.
Exactly. Hey, it's just something new we gotta live with, and we gotta experience. You know, for good, bad, or indifferent, we just gotta experience it. So, and I'll say this, and then we'll talk about our last topic of the day, Chris. Like you are spot on, brother, about just the fact that we're in college basketball mode and everything, and we're watching the end of the NBA season and everything. No one's really talking about college football and the things that are going on right now, outside of the gridiron. But once we get back to that, we're gonna have these conversations, and it's just, I'm afraid it's just gonna be too late, just like you said. So,
yeah,
it's a good thing we talking about.
I'm saying, look, hey, let the records show we've been talking about it.
Hey, we pull up the audio. We were talking about this all day. We were talking about this all along. For months.
Y'all be able to see, you go pull up the podcast and be like, okay, on March 25th, they was talking about
it. Exactly.
We tried.
I got a timestamp right here.
So it's a shame, but there are people who care. We're one, and I'm sure there are fans, the people who will be listening to this. You care.
Yeah.
We know you care. Y'all some sickos like us. We talk about college football in March, and y'all listen to a college football podcast in March. So we appreciate you lunatics. We love you too.
But we appreciate all of you.
But yeah, this is just it kind of is what it is. It feels like, because I feel like it should be discussed much more, but there's other cool stuff to talk about. When I talk about these big problems in college football, we talked about the basketball game and who's going to the Sweet 16.
Exactly. I know. If you're like Alabama fans right now, Tennessee or whoever, you don't want to talk about football right now.
No, and whatever's going on in football, it ain't gonna hurt Alabama and Tennessee football. If anything, it's only just gonna help them.
Exactly. it helps them transition for what not to see.
Right.
If things don't go well on the football field, of course, you always got basketball to lead on.
You got that, and then Alabama and Tennessee football there's never going to be a world where they are irrelevant.
Right.
It don't matter how many teams in the college football playoff or whatever the format's going to be or what happens with the conferences. Tennessee and Alabama will be at the lunch table where everybody wants to eat at.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a spare seat? Because I want to sit by. That's what it's always going to
be. Everybody sit here. Is the seat open? Oh, okay.
Let me slide through right quick,
And then as soon as you sit down, Alabama and Tennessee you gonna eat your cornbread? They gonna you try to sit with us, we're going to get some off your plate.
Oh man, no, you're absolutely right about that, man. But yeah, we will see. We will see how all of this stuff kind of takes shape for the future of college football and just college athletics in general. But yeah,
I think we'll know a lot more come even in August. When we're talking about the games, the season openers.
yeah.
I even think then there should be some more news out by then on what's going on.
Right. I agree. But yeah, man. But last topic, of course, for today's show, Chris. I know you've seen. This was a couple of weeks ago. This is so funny. Former Mississippi State head football coach Zach Arnett joins the Ole Miss Rebels as a analyst under Lane Kiffin. Chris, this one slapped me right in the face. I was not looking for this at all. What do you think about this? Of course, I mean, I'm going to put on my fan cap right now, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't Kory Willis, the sports talk host. Of course, this is Kory Willis, the Mississippi State fan. This is the worst thing you ever could do to another program, to a program that you coached. What do you think about this?
You know how fed up he got to be with the people at Mississippi State to go take a defensive analyst position with the op.
Oh man, he must be fuming to this day about how everything happened with last year.
Yes, this isn't what I'm about to say. I haven't heard any rumblings. This isn't me saying, reporting anything. We're just talking football and conversing and what I think might have played out there. I feel like him joining Ole Miss as an analyst gives some clarity on how things played out with his tenure with his season as the head coach at Mississippi State. I think a lot of what we saw, we was wondering, where's Zach? That didn't seem like the guy that we knew as a defensive coordinator for Mississippi State.
Not at all.
That guy at all. That fiery guy, in your face, just energy. And then you saw the energy, the defenses he's had over the years, despite all Mississippi State having some terrible offenses, despite what you might think about, Mike Leach and the coach he was. Mm-hmm. Mississippi State's offenses were honestly worse than the defenses were during that time with Mike Leach, the 3 years with him as head coach.
Yeah.
So we didn't see that guy, though, is what I'm saying, as the head coach. He seemed like a shell of himself. He seemed like a ghost at the podium. You just was wondering, is this Zach Arnett talking? And I feel like, how things played out, he might have been led astray by took some advice he probably shouldn't have taken. And I think he wants to get his get back and help Ole Miss do what they got to do.
Hey, that's the only thing I can think of at this point. That's the only thing I can think of. And
he could have got a job anywhere else as a defensive analyst, honestly. Being for real, Kory. And then even with what happened with him as the head coach at Mississippi State, I know he could have received a solid coordinator position somewhere, or a high-level position coach job in the SEC or in the Big Ten. But he chose to go to the evil empire, the Ole Miss, as the analyst, just to rub it in. He got the stash grown out too. He locked in. It's March. He's already locked in.
I know. He made a deal with Dartmouth.
Oh boy.
Flat out.
Yeah,
oh man.
Folks. If you thought you were going to see Ole Miss's defense, they've had their struggles over the years. The defense, it was much improved last season. I'm here to tell you now, it'll be improved again this season. I don't care who they lost, who ain't gonna be there. I know who is there. And Zach Arnett knows how to coach defensive football.
Yeah.
So, having him as an analyst, good job, Lane Kiffin. Good job. That's all you can say.
That's all you can say. So, I mean, it's just another thing that Levy has to deal with now that he's the head football coach in Mississippi State. So, we'll see what happens with that. With Jeff Levy and Lane Kiffin and now Zach Arnett being by his side.
Man, this it's crazy seeing just how much the Mississippi football scene has just changed and evolved over the years. All because of Elijah Moore.
I know. Exactly. Hey, look, I feel like ever since that touchdown he made, ever since that celebration, I think this rivalry has gotten like way more toxic than it ever has been.
He sent Mississippi football on a tailspin. He unlocked something and just opened up a new realm that had no business of being unlocked. He opened Pandora's box. He does that. Mississippi State, Ole Miss hires Lane Kiffin, and then after Moorhead had his speech, after he won that game, eventually some stuff comes out, and we heard about the stuff with Garrett Schrader and then different things, incident that popped up with Mississippi State, and Moorhead no longer is the head coach, and then in comes
he was trying to defuse the situation,
yeah. And comes Coach Leach, and we got Kiffin and Leach, and then just Leach brings in Arnett, and just so on and so forth. I mean, here we are now. Ole Miss is probably going to be a preseason top 5 ranked program. I think at least top 10 for sure, possibly top 5. And Mississippi State is just press the reset button again.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with both of these teams. Can Ole Miss capitalize off of not dealing with Nick Saban anymore? Can they squeeze into a playoff spot? Can Mississippi State, actually gain a spark, with a brand new football coach, but unproven, of course, when it comes to being a head coach. Can they make a run somehow, some way, with Jeff Levy now taking the reins?
I think they got the right guy in there. He's unproven as a head coach, but I think they got the right guy. So it's going to take some time, but in this ever-changing and evolving landscape of college football, it's hard to get the time to do what you need to do. So we'll see. Like you said with the Ole Miss, it seems like everything is leading to this year being the year. But can Ole Miss maybe prove that they are like a legitimate program now? Like this team did win 11 games last year in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, they had a pretty good season. One of the best seasons since that Sugar Bowl win. With with Hugh Freeze and Chad Kelly and all those guys.
I mean, then with Corrals last year there, he took them to a New Year's Six Bowl. Mm-hmm. I mean, Ole Miss has had some success, continued success. We'll see if they're for real.
We'll see. We will see. Only time will tell, man. Other than that, that's pretty much all of the topics, of course.
I got one more thing. Just
go ahead.
Just a quick little blurb. Gotta give some love to Alabama. The boys got poached. They was getting players leaving left and right. They done somehow convinced the offensive lineman who transferred to Iowa. He said, "Man, I'm coming back home."
Yeah.
Well, I went back home because he's from Iowa.
Yeah.
I'm coming back to my new home, which is Alabama.
So, are you talking about Proctor, the offensive lineman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caden Proctor. Yeah. That's
Caden Proctor.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I don't understand it. Someone being able to just decide to transfer back like that. It's crazy what's going on. But yeah. Shout out to Bama though. They've been able to secure some recruits, and I want to make sure I give Alabama some love and Kalen DeBoer some credit because of what transpired when Saban retired and how they are bouncing back. We'll see how things look on the field, but for him to get some guys to come back in this cycle and to choose Bama, also continue to recruit well and lock up recruits, it's a good sign for Alabama.
Yeah, it is. It is. They desperately need some talent back to be competitive, of course. And like no one's going to feel sorry for them, especially this coming year. OU here, you have Texas. No one's going to feel sorry for them. So the board has to have all hands on deck, and he has to have the best talent out there. That does help a lot when you have someone like Caden Proctor out there on the line for you, protecting your quarterback. So yeah, that's a big win for the program. Hands down.
Yeah, and for the perception of the program too. You know, like everybody's been kind of plotting on Alabama's downfall. So it helps when you keep highly talented players around to keep the collapse from coming. So yeah, it's a good credit to Bama. We'll see how it looks on the field this fall, but definitely a good bounce back after how things were looking in January.
Absolutely. I agree. And I can't wait. You know, we got spring ball coming up. So that's definitely going to be something that we're going to be talking about. We'll definitely discuss a lot of different teams, returning rosters, of course. So, you know, I can't wait. You know, this is, you know, college basketball is about to end, but watching spring ball is really fun, of course, and it also helps us see what these teams are going to look like heading into the summer, and then once they come back for practice in August and season in September. So
yeah. Yes, sir.
Can't wait.
Just like you, I'm ready for it. You know, get a glimpse of what some guys have that we don't know about. Might have questions about, just to get a glimpse to see, you know, how they've been progressing and, you know, what can be possibly in store come fall. So It's always good to see those guys.
Right. I agree. Agreed. But partner, anything else you want to talk about before we head out for the evening?
We're good, bro. We're good. Another another great time talking college football, which is always.
Oh yeah, I agree. But yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you all listening in on the show. Before we head out, outros. Chris, where can the good folks find you on social media?
Find me on Instagram at chris.bolton_. And you can also find me on Twitter at Chris_Bolton_12. Holla at your boy.
Awesome. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter as well, at Listen to KSW. I'm on there talking wrestling. Of course, we got WrestleMania coming up very soon.
Yes, sir.
So I can't wait for that. And, I'm on there talking other sports as well. March Madness is still going on. Just hit me up on there. All right. Well, yeah, guys. Appreciate y'all listening to the show again. And, we should be back, of course, once we get a little bit more news going on in the college football space. Of course, we definitely want to talk more about the spring. We'll definitely talk about some of the draft prospects. Of course, that'll be something fun for us to delve into. And still kind of work on doing some interviews, of course, with like some recruiting analysts and notable people in the sport for the future. But hope you guys will definitely be around to listen to all of that content. But that's it for us, guys. We appreciate you all as always listening to the show. And until next time, we will catch y'all later.
Peace.